Welcome back to the Fandom Fighters podcast. I am Fern.
And I'm Toby.
And we are joined once again by our friend Stella, talking about some more Troll Hunter stuff.
It's okay. We gotta circle back on that a little bit. The whole series is called Tales of Arcadia, right? Troll Hunter is just the first thing.
Yep.
Tales of Arcadia.
I keep calling it Troll Hunters too, and I just wanted to double check to make sure that it worked.
I would say that everybody knows, like, as far as the fandom is concerned, if you're saying Troll Hunters, most everybody knows what you're talking about. But then if you want to, like, really break it down, you'd be like Three Below or Wizards or, you know. But yeah, Tales of Arcadia.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah, all right, we're going to talk about production this episode. We kind of buried the lead on Anton Yelchin dying in the last one, which is very sad. I loved Anton.
Yeah.
He was in some good stuff. I want
Mm-hmm.
to look this up real quick. There's a movie that I remember him being in that I liked a lot. It was about selling drugs. I think he's selling specifically like ADHD drugs. Charlie Bartlett. Yeah, Charlie Bartlett.
Yeah, I did see that, actually.
That's the first movie I ever saw him in. He's also in Hearts in Atlantis, which is, from what I've heard, a very good movie, but I've never watched it.
I'll have to watch that first one you mentioned with the drugs, because my one of my partners is a pharmacist. Like, not the farm tech, but the pharmacist. So
essentially what I'm going to spoil Charlie Bartlett a little bit. I'm going to read the about from Google here. Awkward teenager Charlie Bartlett, Anton Yelchin, has trouble fitting in at a new high school. Charlie needs some friends fast and decides that the best way to find them is to appoint himself the resident psychiatrist. He becomes one of the most popular guys in school by doling out advice and occasionally medication to the student body. And the principal in that is Robert Downey Jr.
We'll both love this movie.
So yeah, it's very good. It's a heavy hitter, very good movie. I'm trying to remember. Okay, this movie was released 2007. Iron Man release date. Hold on.
This was vastly overshadowed by all of the anime that I was watching in 2007 because I was a 7th grader.
Because this is my aspect of knowing the production stuff. While they were filming Charlie Bartlett, he was also it was also in the same time when they were filming Iron Man. So if you say he looks like Iron Man and Charlie Bartlett, you're right. It's because he looks like Tony Stark. I'm trying to find a picture real quick because I want to find it. Because that's something that I hadn't realized until today. That they came out like one after the other. Robert Downey Jr.
Now I've got Black Sabbath stuck in my head. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you said Iron Man and it's here.
Iron Man first appearance. So I want to see if we can get a picture of him. The first Iron Man. No, it's so bogged down by all the new stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say good luck digging through all of now the MCU and him. You're probably finding all of the death scenes of Endgame.
I saw that, but we've got this one putting the Fandom Fighters planning chat. I know this is a weird digression, but we don't have a lot of like stuff to talk about in Tales of Arcadia stuff because it's just going to be a lot of like weird connections that this series has to a lot of other things. And then Robert Downey Jr. in Charlie Bartlett.
Oh, I'm trying real hard to find that chat. Now I'm Discord dumb is what I am.
Okay, so he did a shave, but you can tell copy image. It's just based off like
like
his
the haircut is the same.
Yeah.
Okay, can you either tag me?
Okay, yeah.
It's Discord's real good at telling me where to go. There we go.
There you go.
Oh, sweet. There we go. I found it. Oh, yeah, definitely. He definitely looks like basically Tony Stark as a principal.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. I mean, like, it has become synonymous, but like then there's another picture where he's even more Tony Stark if you know comic Tony. So that's like from later on in the movie.
The ugly laugh here. Oh, man.
It's very good. But yeah, that's like a weird connection that Anton Yelchin has, and he had in his life. He was in a lot of stuff. He just was a lot. And
to digress, one of my favorite... in that photo of him, is he holding a gun in the other hand?
Yeah, he's holding a gun and a bottle of it looks like maybe Tito's
tequila. Oh, vodka. Okay, are you sure? Because it's
Yeah.
not clear. That looks like rum.
Oh, that could be a rum too. I can't really tell it's an old picture. Like it's
Yeah,
a
I don't know.
2008
It just
JPEG.
kind
So
of resembles that image of Daniel Radcliffe when he was in Guns
Mhm.
Akimbo.
yes.
Yeah.
Just a lot more
Okay.
beaten down and less manic.
One more link. Drunk Tony Stark. Trying to find. There's a very specific picture that I feel like he was actually like sneaky channeling it with gun. Hold on.
It's good.
If we want to see something that's aggressively American.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's a very specific scene. No, I guess maybe I'm misremembering it, but essentially, like Tony Stark in the comics is at some point a raging alcoholic. It's very rough, but he's they cover it in the Marvel movies a little bit where he's dealing with like the weight of the world on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But here's here's a good one. I just love this. This is so off topic for Tales of Arcadia. Just getting into
Wow.
Oh, he looks so rough.
yeah, Tony Stark gets rough. I hate him. He's my least favorite Avenger.
Yeah, I can't tell if it's because I'm not a big fan of Robert Downey Jr. or if I genuinely don't like Iron Man and Tony Stark. Maybe it's a mix of the two.
It's got to be mixed too. He's a very good Tony Stark, despite being Tony Stark being a shitty person. Like,
Yeah.
a shitty billionaire.
I gotta
Yeah.
say, a lot of people love Iron Man, but I was always Team Captain America when it came down to like
Thank
Civil
you.
War type things. And then as far as like other MCU characters go, one, I am a big Deadpool fan, as well as X-Men, and I wish that the X-Men wasn't done so dirty.
Yeah.
As
Hey,
far as movie
it's coming
translations.
back.
I know, and I really want to see a Gambit that's worth like something. And because I have actually the majority of comics I own is either Dark Crystal or X-Men Gambit specifically.
Very
And
Mm.
so yeah, no, I would love to see them done right. And I hated the argument where people are like, "Oh, we don't like Captain Marvel," and she has like all the same mannerisms as Tony Stark, and I'm like, "What? You hate her because she's doing everything Tony's doing?"
Yeah, that's
Oh, it was great. I was watching Endgame with my partner Caleb, and his roommate had said something along the lines of him liking Tony more than Captain Marvel. I kept my mouth shut up to a good point in the movie when Captain Marvel came flying down and like it just demolished the fucking armada that Thanos brought in, and I was like, I'm
Mm.
sorry. Were we watching
yes.
Stark Studios or Marvel Studios?
Uh-huh.
I didn't like the movie Captain Marvel as much as I like some of the other Marvel movies. I still liked it, if that makes sense. I
If
thought
you
it was
had shown me Captain Marvel when I was 13, I would have joined the Air Force. Like that's
yeah,
how much I loved it.
it's a super cool movie. I just think like for me, I'm I'm a huge Captain America fan, but like I don't know much about Captain Marvel, so I couldn't like get super into it. I thought it was like a more cool exploration of like uh everybody kind of assumes Tony Stark is like the first hero, but there's so many more. Like
Right,
they go
exactly.
back ages and ages. But we're way off topic now.
Oh yeah,
Back
we're
to
way off
Anton.
topic.
Back to Anton Yelchin. He passed away June 19th, 2016, which is what season would that be? Do you know?
So from what I read, and I think I sent you the link last night, and or I had read it last night on top of the link I sent when I was looking up the switch in voice actors because I didn't know who they subbed him for. They got all of his recording lines done for seasons 1 and 2 because I think that they were greenlit for season 2, and so they released all of first season 2016, 2017, last I checked, and so he technically died midway through production of a lot of stuff, but most of his lines were done.
Okay.
It wasn't until late season 2 into season 3 when you got the nod to Jim's voice changing.
Yeah,
Interesting.
they replaced him with Emil Hirsch, who is a very
Yes.
good voice actor. I like a lot. He was in The Girl Next Door, one of my favorite movies as a teen, because it's like, man, this is like a wacky. I don't know if you ever saw it, but it's like it was a formative movie for me because it's like, man, like sex education is actually super important. We're not getting taught enough sex education in schools.
Right.
It was a
Should
weird
watch
eye
that one
opener.
then.
It's probably doesn't hold up, I would say.
Well, I mean, I love 10 Things I Hate About You, and it definitely doesn't hold up to today's actual
Yeah.
feminism standards. But, you know, Heath Ledger.
Still love it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
on this other string I'm going to follow on weird production things. So The Girl Next Door is a movie where a high schooler lives next to a porn star.
That's right. I remember reading about that.
He
I must have been so young when this released. I'm so sorry. I have no idea.
He's 18. I'm gonna preface that. He's 18. They're both adults. He's a senior in high school, and he just falls in love with this porn star, which is for the time that this was released, extremely strange. There's such a weird taboo about porn stuff, but it's such a. I didn't know Emil Hirsch was that guy for that movie. He's the main character, and he replaced Anton Yelchin as the voice for Jim.
When I was reading through it, it appeared to be that Emil Hirsch was actually quite close to Anton at some point or another. So they felt, so DreamWorks had reached out to him specifically saying, would you want to fill his role since he passed away? And he was actually quite emotional taking on that role.
Yeah, that would have to be.
Yeah.
We're getting into drama now. There's people also ask what happened to Emil Hirsch. He was arrested at Sundance Film Festival.
I did not know that.
Published January 23rd, 2021. So this is recent.
That's why I don't know.
Yeah. So, this isn't recent. This is just published. But at the 2015 Sundance Film Festival, Hirsch had a verbal and physical altercation with Paramount executive Daniel Bernfeld that involved Hirsch putting Bernfeld in a chokehold so strong she blacked out. So he assaulted a woman. Very unfortunate. In court, Hirsch said he had consumed enormous amounts of alcohol, including medicine, and did not have any memory of the incident whatsoever. He sentenced 15 days in prison after he pled to Class A misdemeanor assault. So I'm assuming she may have dropped the charges or is convinced, unfortunately, to drop the charges. And it's a very shitty situation.
That is super unfortunate, and he, really shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, he shouldn't have. But this is
what happened to set him off other than the alcohol.
Yeah, he says alcohol and medicine, and things can go crazy. He could have killed her. It's very scary, and I hope this is one of those situations where I hope he learned from it. That's all I can really say. I didn't know about this until now.
It's the more we said his name, and I know this is very ill-timed. The more we said his name, the more I recognized where else I'd seen him, and this is going to absolutely again date me and or kind of put me in a different box here of nerddom. He was the live-action Speed Racer that came out when I was in high school. Oh
yeah, I didn't even think that's the next thing. The next one in the list right after The Girl Next Door, Speed Racer. I didn't know that he was. He's despite choking a lady out, he's a very decent actor. Like I said, I hope he figured that shit out and got that sorted. But it's one of those things where he served a small amount of time and he paid a fine and did 50 days of community service as well. Probably not actually enough for it, but if this is his first offense kind of thing, it's something to think about.
I would hope that I don't see a pattern out of it because I have liked the things that he's been in, and it's really hard when you have to sit there and try to reconcile how you feel about somebody's acting and their skills and their art and services versus how they are as a person, and you're like, God damn it, I gotta keep getting asked this question in my adult life. How do I support something if I don't like this person?
Right.
This is the only incident. This is it.
Yeah.
This is a one-time thing. So he's
so hopefully this doesn't become a pattern.
Yeah, even up until 2019, he's I fucked up and I really hate it. I think about it all the time. It sucks. It's
I hope he's moved away from the alcohol and the things that influenced him to act that way.
A lot of things are him getting sober. So
that's good.
With anything, do it with consideration to your own limits, which is a big point of Troll Hunters. Very fun show we were talking about. That Stella, this is how the show usually goes. Things get really weird and depressing.
Yeah, there are
'Cause
actually some really deep, depressing points in the show too. As far as events that
oh,
happen.
good. So yeah, Emil Hirsch replaced him. It must have been close, and at the time, this was like a year after that incident. So if Anton was close with him, then things must have been a little different.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So, but how did Anton? I'm trying to find how Anton Yelchin
So
died.
Anton died in this almost freak car accident where he was either working on his vehicle or somebody was in his vehicle, and he ended up pinned between it and like a garage door.
Yeah, I remember reading about that.
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought it was in a car accident. Okay, death on June 18th, 2016, when he failed to arrive at a rehearsal. Yelchin was found by friends just before midnight, pinned between his Jeep Grand Cherokee and a brick pillar gate post outside his house in Studio City, Los Angeles. Victim of what was described as a freak accident, as Yelchin got out of his car and went to check, the vehicle apparently rolled back down his driveway, which was a steep incline and trapped against a pillar and a security fence. Yelchin was pronounced dead at the scene June 19th, 2016, at the age of 27. So it was a while before they got to him, it seems like.
Yeah.
No.
It was a very depressing thing, and they didn't quite like work it into the series until I think near the end of a couple of episodes when you had like in loving memory of Anton Yelchin, and they would put in like to our troll hunter, type of deal. And that's actually when Brian and I, my ex, had we started like Googling things and figured out how he died, and we are like, oh God, like that
So,
happened.
so this is interesting too. They his parents sued both Chrysler, who make the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and Fiat Chrysler automobiles. Or no, the Fiat Chrysler automobiles, the manufacturer of the Jeep Cherokee, and lawsuit against Fiat Chrysler, the dealership from which he purchased it, and they claimed that he had modified it in some way, and that's what fucked it up. But there were there was a lot of other recalls. The 2014, 2015 Grand Cherokees had a bunch of recalls.
Ooh,
Um,
that's not a good
so
look.
it's not a good look. So they had a software patch because it was all software related, which makes it even worse. It's not even a hardware thing. It's like the computer system in the car fucked up, which can be very devastating. I don't think people give the computer systems in cars enough credit.
No, they really
They
don't.
After his death, they vastly accelerated the recall campaign, so um they stepped it up a notch. So after they said that, they filed this on August 1st, 2016, and then on March 22nd, 2018, it was announced that Yelchin's family and Fiat Chrysler had confidentially settled out of court. So,
Mm,
like with any settlement, that's they admitted wrongfulness, but they didn't
right.
get a judgment on wrongfulness. So take that all with a grain of salt. Nobody ever knows how much they settled for. But like with the last president, there was a lot of things that got settled out of court, and
Yeah.
you can basically take that to mean they absolutely happened.
Yeah.
And he paid off all these people. Anyways, it's neither here nor there. We're talking about troll hunters again. Um, so this is like Anton Yelchin's death is one of the only hiccups that the entire series had. This is a
Out of
Pixar,
production.
yeah, out of production, yeah.
DreamWorks.
DreamWorks. Was this a DreamWorks when they weren't part of Pixar thing? Let's look that up.
I am unsure. I just know that they usually did the opening Troll Hunter style for DreamWorks. The DreamWorks, the moon and the fishing and that
Yeah,
whatnot.
Right.
They would did a Troll Hunters version of it.
very cool. I
That's
don't.
cute.
I'm trying to see where the credit for it. All episodes, Netflix original series. That doesn't tell me what I need to know.
I know Disney and Pixar have been, but I didn't think DreamWorks and Pixar were. Of course, I
I think maybe
can't.
they just sometimes have similar styles
That must be
in
it.
their animation, because I feel like I've thought that they'd collaborated before.
Oh, Pixar and DreamWorks partner for Toy Story and Shrek.
Ah, okay.
They partnered for like a Toy Story and Shrek crossover. Like this is the weird specific thing that I was remembering. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a thing?
Yeah, the special airing Christmas Eve 2013 involves Bonnie and family taking a vacation, but when Dad makes a wrong turn, they end up in far, far away. Perceiving it to be an elaborate theme park, the family decides to stay. I've never seen this, but I heard about
Holy
it.
shit!
Never
What?
heard of that. That is
You've just
cursed.
It is cursed, and
opened
it's also an
a
April.
whole.
It's an April Fool's thing.
Oh,
I've
thank
been
God! I was
pranked.
gonna. Whew. Okay.
I've been
That
pranked
was.
since 2013.
Wow.
So, anyways, DreamWorks.
Yeah.
I'm looking up how the DreamWorks production drama. I guess that'll work. 2012, 2005.
I think DreamWorks was fairly okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Voltron also done by DreamWorks?
I believe
Wanna
so.
say, yeah.
They may have been so busy putting out the fires of Voltron that no one would have noticed anything that would have happened in Troll Hunters.
Honestly, that would make sense. Because it was around the same time, right?
Hopefully so. So the way I kind of remember 2016 without it being a horrible election year is that I actually went to France for the first time, or the second time, I should say, and Kat sat for a friend of a friend, and my roommate had told me pretty much when I got there that I was to start watching Voltron whenever I got back to the States. And so I kind of remember Voltron coming out around 2016 more so than anything at that point. And as far as Voltron fandom, everything is concerned, because I kind of just separate myself from the drama as much as I possibly can and try to make it the best I can until the series ends. And I'm like, all right, time to dive headfirst into the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Voltron ended around 2018.
Yeah, I think so.
That's very possible that they were trying to put out the fires of Voltron.
Yeah, and they were just like, let's just focus on this.
Yeah,
let's focus on the problem child and not the golden one over here, you know?
They made 78 episodes. When did Voltron end?
Oh god, I don't even remember. I seem to be trapped in this.
2018, I guess.
I guess.
Oh, that's right. They would put out like seasons at a time.
Yeah, they would put out like Troll Hunters was also that way, where they put out seasons at a time, and that's just because of Netflix binging culture.
Yeah.
And I can't quite recall. They put out a specific season that was like so pitifully short to kind of appease people for the time being. I remember things just being on like described as like things on the cutting room floor that were probably very crucial that didn't make it into the show, kind of deal with Voltron, but it doesn't seem to be the case for Troll Hunters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like even that, like you keep saying, okay, what's the Voltron fire? Is that just like talking about how people were super into it, or what do you mean when you say the Voltron fire?
Oh, I'm just calling it a dumpster fire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of I watched like one episode, but Taylor was a fan, I think, and it was all over the like my circles of the internet at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just know that there was a lot of disappointment with later seasons. There was a lot of shipping discourse, like heated.
Oh man,
very heated.
So heated. And actually, as I was refilling my drink and I was speaking with my roommate very briefly on the way back in, mentioning that we discussed how toxic Voltron fandom was, she was just like, you know, I mentioned the fan fiction one being like, mathematically, Troll Hunters is apparently not as Rule 34-y as others could be. And she was saying with the ambiguous ages that was Voltron, it just kind of hits the fan.
Yeah. I know there's like a character that people ship with another character, and then other people call it problematic because he was like sort of a father or brother figure, maybe.
Oh, you're talking about Keith and Shiro, aren't you?
Yeah, that sounds right. But I always hear about Keith and Lance.
Okay, Clance is definitely a very popular one because that's what's supposed to be like a main protagonist and the Lancer character out of the group of 5. And lots of people right onto that one right off the bat. And it makes sense. I'm not going to debate it here.
Yeah.
That to me could have been a good ship. The Shiro Keith one was also very popular. Again, I didn't.
That's right.
I was very disappointed in the series because I was really hoping for Lotor to make a redemption arc like Zuko, and I was sorely mistaken. And it turned out to be a Nazi, and I'm not happy with it. So
it'll happen.
yeah,
So getting back to Tales of Arcadia.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
Sunshine and Rainbows.
Yeah. So Del Toro.
Guillermo.
Guillermo.
I'll say his first name. You say the last.
Del Toro. He plays a character.
Oh,
Dr. Mario Mu. It says I can't.
He
read
is
the
the
rest.
dentist.
Is he?
I think it's the dentist.
that's amazing.
Like the exact billing that he gives himself in it. So he is in. Okay, hold on.
I'm pretty sure he's the dentist.
Yeah, it's just Dr. Mario something. I can't click through to
There's a Hispanic dentist. That's Toby's dentist, and Toby's teeth are often I wouldn't say a point of contention, but it comes back to him having to go to the dentist quite a bit. And one of the scenes of them discovering a changeling is in the dentist office. It's like his dental hygienist, and another scene where he gets like new headwear, like one of those really embarrassing like super corrective braces that everybody would absolutely hate to have, and it picks up on radio signals type of bad headwear. But his dentist he has like some snippets where he has talking points and just conversational bits. It's pretty neat.
That's interesting. I love when directors or writers do that, and I'm trying to find how hands-on and it seems like he was just like through the whole thing very hands-on with the writing and world building of it.
Oh yeah.
So that's cool.
There's several scenes in Trollhunters that I mean Trollhunters 3 Below and Wizards that you would have just assumed that Guillermo del Toro just kind of took over because the angling of it is all classic horror movie style. All of the tension build up is very classic horror genre. It's all built up as if to give you like a jump scare, and it's something absolutely inconceivably stupid that that ends up being the next step. But yeah, no, it's just it definitely has the horror vibe to it. And I'm like, yes, Del Toro definitely put his hands on this scene kind of moment. And I could not find anything that guaranteed me that theory, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Yeah, I also love Pacific Rim. I gotta say that. Second one, I haven't seen, and I probably won't because I heard is very bad. But the guy knows both horror and action, and
Yes.
I think a lot of it is in his build. He also apparently worked on Kung Fu Panda 2. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
And Puss in Boots.
Huh.
And
See, that makes sense to me because when I heard that he was part of like an animated series, I was like, that seems like a departure from what he usually does. But now knowing that he worked on other animated productions.
I think there was, out of that link I sent you yesterday, it kind of detailed how he got into like, I think he did his apprenticeship with animation with the person he has voicing Blinky, if I'm not mistaken, Kelsey Grammer. And he got really hands-on with just learning at DreamWorks and doing the apprenticeship, and then that's when they kind of threw him like, here you go, here's your green light.
You say
Nice.
Kelsey Grammer voices Blinky?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Guillermo also worked on Blade 2.
Another interesting tidbit.
Very interesting. I didn't know that. Only Blade 2, none of the other.
None of the other Blades, just Blade 2.
Just Blade 2. The Orphanage.
He and another guy they co-authored the books that is the Tales of Arcadia series, and one of these days I should get around to reading the book series, but I've heard that it takes fairly large departures from the source material.
Gotcha. Yeah, he has a lot of books apparently, and I looked and it's like I think he
does.
I think he does the Tolkien thing where he builds the world and other people write the books, which I'm not saying Tolkien did, but he's more of like the world building aspect of it. And then other people write the stories.
What you're saying.
Yeah.
When I worked at Books A Million, I would see his name attached to a few different things. Not as much say as like, unfortunately, James Patterson or who else? Oh man, I'm trying to remember who in fantasy would just kind of sell out their world building and then just kind of go with it beyond we had sections dedicated to just Star Wars, Star Trek, Witcher, and some of them you would see co-authored.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. He does the world building like the Strain series. I don't know what that is, but
that one sounds familiar.
It looks
Yeah.
like spooky like Nosferatu style vampires with long tongues.
There's some graphic novels in his bibliography somewhere. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, he's got the Monsters of Hell. So that's what he must have done on the. He designed the monsters. That makes sense. But yeah, going back to Kelsey Grammer, have you seen that? It was the third X-Men movie. Hold on, he has a line in it because he plays Beast.
I was to say I've systemically like repressed some of those movies. I think the only one I really acknowledge is First Class because I can watch it on its own without necessarily thinking of everything else that's gone wrong in the series.
Yeah, there's this. I gotta share it with you because it's very. It's like the most Frasier thing ever.
Oh, that's right.
And he just recites Shakespeare in the middle of this like scene, and like the other X-Men just kind of stand there staring at him, and it's very weird. It's
That's
like
awkward.
I'm like, what? I'm starting it now.
It's I don't like I don't know what they did. The first X-Men was like decent, and then there's like we're all gonna get super drunk and just do the rest of these movies now. But like X3 is like one redeeming quality. It is the Juggernaut going on the Juggernaut bitch and slamming. Like that's the only thing. That's like the only good part. I'm just like, thank you for putting a meme in this movie. I don't like anything else about it.
Few. So it's funny that he's reciting this particular line of "We happy few," because this is actually recited by the math teacher in Troll Hunters.
Oh my god! Of course it is.
It is, and it's because the math teacher is also like paired as the drama teacher. So, but it's really funny when that scene comes up. So if anybody is a would-be watcher and they get to that point, they'll remember. Oh wait, I know that reference.
Yep. So yeah, it's just something that I saw that is like the most Frasier thing to ever happen to Kelsey Grammer happened in the X3 movie.
Well, it happens in the third season of Troll Hunters, but not to Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, like I'm still trying to find more things because
Well, like I said before, I kind of put into the notes that I can kind of geek out on some of the things that, like, as far as what shined through in the show from production. When Anton had died, I think I had mentioned it before that they had already had most of his lines recorded up through season 2, and by the time that and it's really hard for me to remember like where seasons start and end because I binge so much that everything becomes one big season to me.
Yeah.
That by this point in the series when his voice is changing, Blinky has this throwaway line when he's asked something about Jim and his changed behavior. He completely misses the actual thing about his behavior and is like, oh, something about human puberty, his voice changing, something growth spurt kind of moment. And it's like I said, it's a very throwaway line, but that's about the point where I actually noticed because I didn't see any of the credits up to that point. They weren't updated on Netflix to reflect, in loving memory of our troll hunter, Anton Yelchin. Or Anton Yelchin. And so by that point is when I actually noticed because it's when they threw it in there as a throwaway line where I'm like, that's typical for most shows when they've got child actors.
Right.
And they've got them voicing characters. They did it in Owl House for the second season for one of the characters that his voice actor hit a growth spurt and his voice dropped. And so they were like, which puberty? And so it's something that's fairly commonly used, and they kind of just threw it in there. But go ahead.
I love it. I love that when that happens. Like in Steven Universe happens too, where the voice actor he ages up and the character ages up a bit. When we get into the actual like Steven Universe stuff, there's a lot of background production stuff that I know about the show that I think could have been handled better, but also they did what they could. But keeping the same voice actor and then just like explaining it in universe is so nice.
Yeah.
It is. It really is, because then it's kind of just accommodating. And even if you're changing voice actors and you kind of have that throwaway line, it works, well enough for the audience that catches it.
Yeah, and that's interesting that his voice was able to sound similar enough that
it really did sound similar enough. Like it didn't dawn on me until that happened.
That's impressive.
All right, I have the cast pulled up here, and I want to go through some notables that are in this. So first big name is Kelsey Grammer as Blinky. Very cool. Then we have Steven Yeun as Steve
Cool.
Palchuk. Who's Steve Palchuk in the show? Is he the bully? Is that right?
He is the bully.
I didn't know. Okay, Steven Yeun's the bully. That makes sense. Ron Perlman is Bular.
Oh my god, he does such a good job as Bular.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Clancy Brown is Gunmar. Gunmar, I don't know how they
Gunmar.
pronounce it. Gunmar, okay.
Yep.
Clancy Brown is, I love him in, because I'm a big gamer, Detroit Become Human as the detective. Very
He's got
cool.
this gravelly voice that works really well for him. Gunmar is the big bad.
Oh, excellent. I love it. I love when he's able to play like a bad character, because a lot of times he plays like the
Oh man, it's just such an evil, though this is not even misunderstood. This is purely evil character.
Yeah. A lot of times he plays like the weird dad kind of character. Then David Bradley is Merlin. I don't know if you know who David Bradley is. He's very
don't, but every time
I
somebody
love
says
him.
Merlin, I just chuckle.
What's he in?
David Bradley's in a lot of stuff. You would know him if you saw him. David Bradley, IMDb. Let's name some of his big works.
I was about to say, you're quoting one of my partners right there for a minute. Where I was like, he says that exact thing to me, and I have to remind him I'm several years younger than him, and I have no idea what he's talking about.
He's in a lot of British stuff because he's a British man. He's in Harry Potter.
Of course
as he's Argus Filch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's in Game of Thrones too. I know who that is.
Yes. Yeah, I had to figure out who he was. He's also in The World's End and Hot Fuzz as characters in those. But I love him when I see him. It's always good. He's also in Captain America: The First Avenger.
Oh, okay. Here we go. You finally mentioned something I was invested in enough.
He's the Tower Keeper in that. I don't know what the fuck that means. I haven't watched the show or the movie in a long time. The Tower Keeper, though, that's who he was.
Tom Kenny is in this, who you may know as the voice of SpongeBob.
You're skipping ahead.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
So SpongeBob is in here. What? So it's unfortunate that I only know so much casting. Like, if there's somebody who's got a really iconic voice, I'm like, hey, them. But like, some of the names right over my head.
And then Angelica Huston's in this. She's in The Witches. She's in Ever After. She's Morticia Addams in the Addams Family Values movie. One of my favorite ladies in all of production. Like,
who's she voicing here in Trollhunters?
She is voicing Queen Ursula.
Ooh, Ursula. Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay.
I was like, which female lead did she grab? I was just like, which?
The voice of Nana.
Oh, Nana. Yeah, that would be Toby's grandma.
That's Lorraine Newman, who is in. She is Larta from Coneheads, the mom, I believe. I'm pretty sure I haven't watched Coneheads in years, and I don't remember the names of the Coneheads. I just remember them as the Coneheads. I'm pretty sure that's the mom in that. I want to hold on. Now I gotta double check this. Larta Coneheads.
I wish I could tell you I recognize Coneheads, but I don't.
I know what you're talking about. I just haven't seen it.
It's one of those SNL things.
Yeah,
is an SNL bit that became a movie. There's like weird aliens with cone heads. Like that's all. It's the concept. That's all you need to know.
There's somebody in this cast list who I swear every time there's something animated that I like, I look up the cast, and this guy is cast.
Yeah.
Take a shot every time I said cast in that. I'm not spoiling, but I'm just saying this man I did not know was such a prolific voice actor, because I only knew him from one certain thing.
If you tell me what that one certain thing is, I kind of want to guess.
It's next coming up, I'm pretty sure. So the Dictatious, who's that in the show?
That is Blinky's brother.
Okay, that's Mark Hamill.
Oh, yeah, that I remember.
Yep.
He's in
Invincible.
Everything.
He really is. He plays Dictatious really well.
Yeah, he's such a I never recognize his voice, but I'm always like, wow, that voice actor is doing a great job. Who is that? Oh, of course, it's Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill is capable. He just has a chameleon voice where it's like it's him. Like you're looking at it, it's the vague shape of Mark Hamill, but you're not quite sure until it's said.
Right.
Yeah, and then Tom Hiddleston's also credited in the show, but I don't know who he plays. It doesn't tell me.
Give me a second. I'm sure I could figure it out.
Yeah, I just need to actually look up Tom Hiddleston Troll Hunters and it'll tell me like exactly what it is. He Kanjigar the Courageous.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So if you use Avatar The Last Airbender logic about how the avatar reincarnates and you have kind of the power of each avatar previously and you can kind of call on them, in Troll Hunters you have this access to this thing called the Sooth Scryer, and you're in the training grounds for the Troll Hunter. Can't remember the specific name of it right off the top of my head because I'm useless like that, but the spirits of former Troll Hunters can kind of come back and help. And Kanjigar is the one at the beginning of the show who kills himself.
Oof. And the last notable that I see in this, there might be other people that I'm just skipping over that I don't know, but it's Frank Welker. And if you don't know who Frank Welker is, he's like, he's in everything as well. He's in like, he voices Shockwave in Transformers Dark of the Moon, Galvatron in Age of Extinction, Megatron in the last, whatever the fuck that movie was for the Transformers. He's Shao Kahn Reptile in Mortal Kombat. He's Scooby-Doo. He's Fred Jones and Scooby-Doo and basically everything Scooby-Doo.
No way. I did not know those were the same voice actor.
He's Curious George.
Oh.
Oh,
he's in some Disney stuff too.
He's Bubble
Land
Puppy.
Before Time.
He's Bubble Puppy in the Bubble Guppies. He's the Goblins. He's credited as the Goblins in Wizards.
Okay. So the Goblins are hilarious to me because you can't really tell, like you can't tell who's actually voicing them because all they say is Waka Chaka.
Yeah, that sums up Frank Welker very well.
They just kind of change the inflection of Waka and Chaka over and over again, but it's worth it. I love the Goblins; they're really funny.
I get that job where I just say Waka Chaka and get paid money.
Well, all you gotta do is start saying Waka Chaka and get hired.
If y'all start watching the episodes, I really want you guys to tell me just how you react to the Goblin episode where they first introduce them because it's beautiful. It's just so magnificent. They're the stupidest villain of the day. It's beautiful.
He's a million different things. I want to keep going through these because he's just so much. He's oh fuck, I just skipped over Garfield. He's Garfield in a lot of stuff.
Oh my god.
He's Megatron in a lot of stuff. Also Galvatron because they have very similar voices. He's on Robot Chicken a lot.
It's fantastic you're naming off all these roles because now I understand why I love the Goblins. It's almost as if like there's a subliminal messaging in my brain because I love Megatron.
He voices.
I'm on the side of the Decepticons.
He's in like 39 episodes of Futurama as Nibbler and additional voices.
Perfect.
He's just in everything.
Just every weird little guy.
Yeah, he's a
every
weird
little guy that I love.
Yeah.
He's in World of Warcraft. He voices a lot of stuff in World of Warcraft, apparently.
My anticipation is growing as you go through the list of cast because I can't wait till you get to my favorite character.
Who's your favorite character?
Hizardukes.
Okay, that's not on this list that I'm looking at yet. So
damn.
Hizardukes.
Hizardukes, aka Dukesy.
How do you spell that?
Hisirdux.
Okay, Hizardu. Gotcha.
Hizardukes. They pronounce the X. Now, me as somebody who took several years of French and stayed in France, it's really hard. I look at that word and I really want to not pronounce the X, but
that's where I got it too. This is Arcadia, IMDb. I don't know because I don't know who the actor is for this. Cast, please. Colin O'Donoghue. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I am like anticipating it. I pulled him up because I was like, I needed to confirm. And I was like, oh, you know what? Yeah.
He's in a lot of things that I've never watched.
He's Hook in Once Upon a Time for everybody that watched that.
I didn't.
He's
so
hot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at a picture, I was like, I know exactly who this is, but I've never seen anything. And I've been shown pictures of the hot guy.
You've seen him with eyeliner.
Oh, wow.
That's what it is. You've seen him with eyeliner.
Yep, that's got to be it. Yeah, that's, all these little weird links and connections. And it's nice having, besides the unfortunate passing of Anton Yelchin, because Chrysler are murderers and they made killer Jeeps. And there's a whole Jeep cult that I'll talk about at some point because up where I live, there's like a blessing of the Jeeps, and it's like this weird
Oh my God.
ritual. It's very strange.
I drove a Jeep for 1 week because I was borrowing my Cyrus's mom's car, and I hated it. It was just because she had an old shitty Jeep, but also it was so awkward having everybody wave at me who was also in a Jeep.
Yeah,
And then it was hard to get out of that habit. Like when I got my little Honda Fit, I would be like waving at the Jeep people, and I'd be like, "I'm in a Honda Fit. I'm not supposed to be doing this."
Yeah, they get mad.
Culture.
Yeah.
They'll get mad at you if you're like if you do the little Jeep wave and you're not in a Jeep.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's a whole. It's like an event with like posters and shit, and they do blessings of a Jeep. They have like a priest just bless their Jeeps.
I wish you could see my face, because my face is saying a lot of what I'm not saying, but man, car culture is crazy.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Huh.
But that's what I'm saying. There, it's a weird cult, and they murdered Anton Yelchin. That's my conspiracy theory for the day.
You know what? I'm on board with that conspiracy theory. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, as far as besides Anton passing because of Jeep murderers, it's a pretty good cast, and yeah, everything went pretty well.
With Guillermo del Toro on, it makes sense to have like all these huge names, especially Ron Perlman. If he's got to be in everything that del Toro makes now. So, just because they're not making more Hellboys, which they should. They should undo that David Harbour Hellboys, do more Ron Perlman Hellboys.
Ron Perlman is the only Hellboy, as far as you ask me.
Yeah.
So
I think I like David Harbour as Hellboy, but I don't think it's a good movie. I think David Harbour makes a fine Hellboy, but Ron Perlman's better. Thank you so much, Stella, for these enlightening episodes. I don't think we're gonna do any more. Like we'll come back after we've watched Trollhunters and do like fan theory stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Just because I want to get in on that, because I want to have some wacky conspiracy stuff. But thank you so much for being on the show as the first positive look at fandoms. Yeah. I mean, Fern's a positive outlook, but she and I are deep in the trenches of weird shit and internet stuff. So
we bring the chaos, so it was nice to have somebody bring a breath of fresh air.
I know that's always weird when you've got like a fandom that again didn't erupt. It didn't get like, I think Trollhunters is big, but it's not very big, and that's kind of almost a blessing, because then it's kind of created this nice niche where people can come in and take a deep breath, and there's not something so controversial done in the show that people kind of get up in arms about it.
It makes me wonder if it's gonna have like a resurgence, like it's that movie with Jack Frost and Santa Claus. Not Santa Claus 3 or whatever it is.
Right, the animated one.
Legend of the Guardians.
Yes.
Yeah.
If that's no, that's the Owls. Never mind. Hold on. Legend. Hold on.
I think you were thinking Guardians of the Ghoul with the owls. It is Legends of the Guardians.
Yeah.
Okay. That's. I'm looking it up right now. It says Legends.
We could do a whole episode about it's Rise of the Guardians.
Rise of the Guardians.
Oh, okay, there it is.
We could do a whole episode about Rise of the Brave Tangled Dragons or whatever from the Tumblr days.
Oh my god.
It was like crossovers between Rise of the Guardians, Brave, Tangled, and How to Train Your Dragon, and people would make like fan art and fan fictions of it.
It's super cool. I loved that movie. It was a very good movie, and I still to this day know that people are making like a fucking tons of fandom stuff for this movie.
Yeah, they shipped Jack Frost with Elsa from.
Yeah, I saw that a lot. That's the only bit of it that I saw, if any of it.
It's got a lot of cool stuff, like Alec Baldwin is North, Jude Law is Pitch Black, Hugh Jackman's Bunnymund.
Really?
Yeah, it's a big cast. Chris Pine is Jack Frost.
Oh, see, I never watched it because I was afraid that I would fall into like the Tumblr.
It's I will say it's a very interesting movie. It's very interesting. It's very cool. I really liked it.
I'll watch it for research now.
Yeah, we'll have to do an episode on it. It's good because the fandom is like still going.
Yeah,
it's very interesting, especially off like one thing. It's one movie and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Before I let you guys wrap up on production, there was one thing I wanted to mention because I wasn't sure how deep into like music you guys were. So this went over my head the first time I had watched it, or like all of Troll Hunters through, until like probably the second or third rewatch that I had done. There's a character who mentions Peer Gynt in her entire arc to Jim. And when rewatching it, every instance of her when she's framed as a villain, you have Peer Gynt's In the Hall of the Mountain King actually playing as her theme.
That's
Very
so
cool.
good. I love that.
Yeah, I didn't want to quite let it go until, you know, we wrapped up there, because that one was just really good, and it's really hard to like notice if you're not a fan of like deep like classical music kind of deal.
I want to point out that Carry On My Wayward Son is in this as well, which that ties into supernatural stuff. But it's Carry On My Wayward Son, but the song by Jahan, I don't know.
I'm not readily recognizing it. That's sad, because I was a fan of Supernatural up until about season 9, season 10.
So it's like a cover of Carry On My Wayward Son is
right.
in Troll Hunters.
So the cover must be super covered, because I don't recognize where in the series that happened.
But I mean, I looked up songs in Troll Hunters, because like sometimes it's as easy as doing that, and it's just I looked, I was like, oh, these are a bunch of songs. There's Soldier Boy, not like Soldier Boy, but like a song called Soldier Boy.
Oh, okay. I was like, are they gonna Superman that hoe?
No, they did not. They had school dances. That was not there.
Yeah, but this cover of Carry On My Wayward Son apparently is in Troll Hunters.
Interesting. Just hearing that song gives me 2012, 2013 Tumblr flashbacks.
That was apparently just a flute.
Yeah.
I don't know to what extent this song is in Troll Hunters, but now I have to watch the whole series just to see where it comes in.
It is, yeah.
Now that you've told me, and I'm gonna be on my millionth rewatch of it, I'm sure, and I'm gonna finally find it, and I'm gonna think of you, and I will text you immediately after I get over the moment of realization.
This is I can't spoil the D&D stuff because this character is very funny, but this is exactly something that one of the characters in the D&D production is likely to do at some point.
You tell me which character it is, I will know.
No, in D&D for the
in D&D, never mind.
For our podcast, we're working on for that. But there's a character who plays a flute, and they play a lot of songs that fuck it, I'm gonna spoil it. But they play a lot of songs from our universe, but they don't know that they're from our universe.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like he's a little unhinged.
Yeah.
He's been through some shit that he can't explain to anybody. So, but it's just listening to him, like, this is exactly something that that character would do. So
absolutely.
All right. I think we're wrapped. I think we're good. I think we've covered everything that we need to cover for this production stuff. It was a very fun web. Oh, I'm getting caught in friends. Like, where am I? Where's my voice coming from?
I was gonna say, I'm like, you're coming from all over the place.
So yeah, take it away, Fern.
What am I doing?
We're ending. We're getting out of here.
We lost you.
Yeah, thank you, Stella, for joining us on the podcast as our first guest. Thank you to, let's see, we already thanked a bunch of people in the last one.
Mm-hmm. Ron Perlman.
Yeah, thanks Ron Perlman specifically.
No thank you to Jeep.
Yeah, no thanks Jeep. Permanent enemies.
Yeah, we are starting the Jeep hate club.
Well, I'm not gonna go that far, but I'm gonna say I won't buy a Jeep ever.
I could sell merch, some stickers, hashtag I hate Jeep.
Yeah, Jeep. Well,
hashtag Jeeps killed Anton Yelchin.
That's gonna be our legacy, so
you're welcome.
I'm ready for that. I have a whole shop dedicated to making very bad t-shirts, so
yes.
We'll do that at some point.
Yeah, plug your bad shirts.
No, the website's down for now because I stopped paying
dang.
I was like, I'm not doing this right now. I'm taking a break from making terrible shirts. But when it comes back up, terribleshirts.xyz, the worst website on the internet. It's very bad shirts that I limit myself to 5 minutes in whatever program I'm making them in to finish the project. So There's a lot of really terrible shirts, but there's hidden gems of coolness to them. I'll leave it at that.
I would probably want to like hit you up for some good shirts from some like after you guys watch Troll Hunters. I'll tell you which quotes I want on either posters or T-shirts.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
I
perfect.
might do that. Thank you, Spectrum, aka Midnight Laboratory, for theme music. I cut out. Thanks for the theme music. Thank you, Spectrum Midnight Laboratory theme music. You can tell this is a late recording because I'm losing my mind.
We're getting 3 different ways we gotta get that said.
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter. We are at FanFightersPod. I run the Twitter and I tweet updates and also just unhinged fandom stuff. So follow that for some fun. I like to retweet the most cursed fan cams I can find. So send me your most cursed fan cams and I will retweet them.
I want to get into making fan cams specifically so that we have an inside source on terrible ones because I have very bad ideas a lot of the time.
I was crying. I'm sorry, I know we're trying to wrap up, but I was crying laughing at the Invisible Man fan cam because it's just sexualized floating glasses.
I hate it.
Oh my god.
I hate it here. Thank you, Stella. I'm going to put all your links to Stone Dragon Craft in this one. We don't have to go through and say them all again. But you go buy some wit and some tarot stuff and all sorts of other cool stuff from Stella there. And
yeah, if you want to get your cards read or your runes read, at the Stone Dragon Crafts can definitely help you with that.
Excellent. And last but not least, thank you, Kelsey Grammer, for reciting Shakespeare in a hallway while everybody stared at you really awkwardly, because that made my day when I saw it the other day.
Yeah, shout out.
Okay, bye.
Bye. See ya.
Bye.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.